Well then, welcome to this edition of News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. We are coming to you live from the Platinum Place here in Accra. Settle for our headlines tonight. Coming up, minority in Parliament describes petitions to remove Chief Justice as frivolous, claiming President Mahama is attempting to suspend and subsequently remove Justice Tokunu and replace her with an NDC sympathizer.
We are aware of plans being hatched to appoint somebody who is a known sympathizer of the current NDC government to act as the Chief Justice of the Republic. To you, this judge, Justice Tokunu's distraction should not be the grounds for your rising to the office of Chief Justice.
Also, Supreme Court adjourns hearing of 2 interlocutory injunction applications against removal of Chief Justice to May 6, citing unavoidable reasons.
For you to interpret that to mean that we are not willing, to go along with this process is totally unacceptable.
An opposition NPP received report by 12-member committee establishing reasons for defeat in the 2024 general elections. And in business, Lands Minister justifies decision not to extend Goldfields Damang mine lease while promising no job losses.
AGL failed to declare verifiable mineral reserves in its renewal application.
And much later, U.S. judge says he'll possibly hold Trump administration in contempt of court for willful disregard of order to halt departure of deportation flights to El Salvador. We've got these and many more here on News Tonight. Please stay with us. I'm grateful for your time here this evening. We start with Insight. Thanks for staying. Now, tonight, even before we hear from the presidency about whether a prima facie has been determined in the petitions to remove the CJ, the minority in Parliament claims President Mahama is attempting to suspend and subsequently remove Chief Justice Tokunu. Legal counsel for the caucus and MP for Swami John Darko says the petitions are frivolous and intelligence available to the minority suggests plans are in motion to put a known sympathizer of the NDC in Justice Gertrude Tokunu's stead. There's more from that press conference.
The minority in Parliament has issued a stern warning to President Mahama and the Council of State against removing Chief Justice Gertrude Tokunu. The CJ has responded to 3 petitions for her removal, setting the stage for the President in consultation with the Council of State to set the process in motion. But even before the presidency updates the public on whether a prima facie has been determined, the minority alleges a grand plot to suspend the CJ under Article 146. Addressing the media, legal counsel for the minority caucus and MP for Swami John Darko argued the petitions should not have been entertained by the president, just as former President Akufo-Addo dismissed the earlier ones. Mr. Darko argued that any attempt to remove the CJ will set Ghana back to the dark ages.
In difficult times, our courts, especially the Supreme Court, has held the balance of power. We remember the cases of Akufo-Addo versus Mahama in 2013. We also remember Mahama and Akufo-Addo in 2021, where our Supreme Court did justice to what is seemed fair at the time, ensure that the status quo remain. It is in the light of the above that we see the spurious petition for the removal of the CJ as a serious setback to our democratic journey.
The group has also been describing contents of the petition as frivolous.
The purpose of the petition, we have gathered, is to malign the head of the judiciary, orchestrate her removal, and thereby silencing the judiciary, and finally, to exert control. The framers of our constitution made each of the arms of government independent and separate, yet made provisions for checks and balances, and that will ensure respect for each branch of government. The framers did not provide for an executive overreach, drawn from funding allegations such as the one against the current CJ. How can a serious country, mindful of its past, desirous of improving its democratic credentials, entertain such loose petitions to orchestrate the destruction of the last bastion of our democracy?
Beyond claiming that the president is attempting to remove the CJ, the caucus also alleges that he is planning to replace her with an NDC sympathizer.
We are aware of plans being hatched to invoke Article 14610A to suspend the CJ, to appoint somebody who is a known sympathizer of the current NDC government to act as the Chief Justice of the Republic. To you, this judge, and to all judges who entertain such desires, Justice Tokonu's distraction should not be the grounds for your rising to the office of Chief Justice. To you, that judge, remember that you can rise together, but if you ride on the distraction of somebody to rise, remember that posterity will not be kind to you.
The minority caucus is therefore demanding that the president desist from implementing the removal and subsequent replacement of Chief Justice Tokonu.
Well, still on this same issue, earlier today, the Supreme Court adjourned the hearing of two interlocutory injunctions aimed at halting proceedings related to the potential removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu to May 6, citing unavoidable reasons. This marks the second adjournment of the case, which was postponed earlier on April 9 to accommodate training for state attorneys. The case involves three petitions seeking the removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, which President John Dramani Mahama has forwarded to the Council of State for consultation. On April 16, one member of the five-judge panel, Justice Samuel Esiedu, was absent. Justice Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, who presided over the panel, cited an unavoidable reason for the adjournment. The plaintiffs are seeking declarations on the interpretation of constitutional provisions governing the removal of a Chief Justice. A similar case filed by private citizen Ebenezer Osei-Wusu was also adjourned to the same day. Here's Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayeni speaking to the media after proceedings.
Whether or not to hear the case, it's not mine to make. All right. And the reason why we were absent at the last agenda was because we organized a training far ahead of the date that was given to us by the court. And the training was for all state attorneys, all right, by the ECOWAS Court of Justice. So they were being trained on the procedures and rules of the ECOWAS Court of Justice. And because of that, I was deeply involved in the training. My deputy was deeply involved in the training. The ECOWAS delegation that was doing the training was here in Accra, and we just asked for a date. Lawyers ask for this all the time when they are constrained and cannot be available in court. So for you to interpret that to mean that we are not willing, to go along with this process is totally unacceptable. The adjournment is to May 6th. So because one of the panel members was not, was unavoidably absent, and so the court has adjourned it to the 6th of May.
Raymond Bidama is a constitutional lawyer and he joins us for more on this development. I'm grateful to have you here, sir. Thank you for your time this evening. Now, it's interesting what we're seeing with regards to this case on hearing interlocutory injunction applications on processes regarding the removal of the Chief Justice. There was an earlier adjournment, and during proceedings for that earlier adjournment, we heard the reasons being cited as training for state attorneys, for which reason the Attorney General had requested that the adjournment be made. This time around, we're hearing about unavoidable reasons for which this adjournment has to happen. What are your impressions of how these cases have been handled so far?
Thank you so much for having me. My regards to your cherished viewers. Actually, if you ask me, I can say that I think the court is actually doing its own process, and these are processes that on daily basis we see in court. If a lawyer who is representing a party has an emergency, there is that opportunity for that lawyer actually to seek the court, so he will be absent from court. So they will ask for a date convenient to both the court and that the lawyer, so they can represent that party, because it is the fundamental right of every party who goes to court to have representation. And so if a person happened to choose a particular lawyer and that lawyer may not be available to represent the party, then it will be the duty of the court to actually give them that opportunity to be represented. So it is a normal day-to-day activities of the court. And so I think the court is on its way doing justice.
But considering that this is a very high-level case, a case of public interest, and knowing that these people are hoping to get a certain injunction while a certain process is ongoing, in cases like this, are there ways that you could expedite hearing? Do you see any dragging of feet, for lack of a better expression, in this matter?
I don't share the same view with you. I don't think there is any dragging of feet from any party in this case, because I feel that it is the right thing to give the parties the right to fair hearing, and that is actually an inherent doctrine that we practice in this country, which is natural justice. So for me, I don't believe that there is anything like feed drag. Again, yes, because it is of public interest, and that is the more reason why they need to give the parties the opportunity to be heard. And I don't think also that the court process or what is pending before the court will actually impede any process that the president has to do.
Interesting. We just heard from the minority caucus in Parliament, and they're claiming that the president is going to suspend and subsequently remove the CJ. They claim that they're saying this based on a certain intelligence they have received. They also claim that the president is planning to replace the Chief Justice with a known NDC sympathizer. Now, all these are happening concurrently. Also, we know that the Council of State is looking into the petitions and the response by the CJ to those petitions as well. What do you anticipate happening? We are yet to even know what the decision of the President and the Council of State is on this matter. But how do you see all these running concurrently, and the fact that this interlocutory injunction hearing is also not concluded, and how it will affect the proceedings by the President and the Council of State?
I don't think that the Constitution is having any mistake in this regard. The Constitution has robust system as how a thing of this nature should be dealt with. And so I don't share the opinion of the minority, because the Constitution provided under Article 2+1 and that of Article 130 as to how a thing is supposed to be done. And again, they are in court actually to do that. And so even if in a case where the president goes ahead to do the thing and the Supreme Court nullifies that thing, it will be so nullified. And so I don't think that there is anything that will be a breach in any manner, because yes, the Constitution provided that if you, a party, any person in Ghana, if you read the case of Tufo's Attorney General, it is explicitly stated, any person in Ghana who feel that a threatened act that is considered to contravene or flout any provision of the Constitution can go to Supreme Court to stop the person from that. So I think they are in court to exercise that right. And so as it stands now, the right has not been matured enough, or the Supreme Court is not ready or not in the position to give because of the absence of one of the panelists. So we need to just wait. But again, I don't also think, or I don't share the view that the action that is pending before the Supreme Court should operate as a bar to prevent the president from acting in his administrative capacity as enshrined by the Constitution.
Right. So for you, it's not a thing of these happening as a consequence or happen sequentially. They can still run concurrently. I will come back to you. Let's listen to the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Marking, who is calling on the Ghana Bar Association to speak in this whole conversation about the removal of the Chief Justice.
The judiciary should not be seen as part of the partisan political system in our country. All we need is to have an impartial judiciary to dispense justice. What is happening is unacceptable, and it's clear that the NDC government wants to infiltrate the judiciary and make it partisan. But my advice to all judges in the country, stand together. Let not somebody create an impression of one of you and think that by dislodging one of you, you will be the next. The next day, you would also be the next. So judges in the country must stand together. The judiciary must stand as one body and make a full statement to condemn this act. The Ghana Bar Association must also stand for the judiciary. Civil society organizations must stand for the judiciary. All these flimsy, pedestrian excuses looking at what is out there, I mean, you wonder whether these are real, grounds for the removal of a Chief Justice. And, well, this is NDC for you.
So that's the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Marking. And let me come back to you, Raymond Bidema, on your thoughts. The Ghana Bar Association speaking on this matter, is that something you would agree to?
I think I side with the minority leader on the part that he said that the judiciary should be allowed to be independent. As a lawyer, it is important for the judiciary to be independent and to be also seen as being independent. But as to whether the civil society organizations and that of the Ghana Bar Association, whatever they will say, will have anything to compel the Supreme Court or any other person to do a thing, for me that is unattainable, because the Constitution has provided for what or how a thing should be done in this manner, and that is where they are also in court. I don't know. I don't believe that any of these organizations coming to speak will have any impact on the matter that is pending before the Supreme Court. So for us, I believe that at this point we should exercise restraint.
Mr. Bidema, I mean, just to chip in there, what the minority's concerns are not about the Supreme Court hearing, but about the petitions to remove the CJ. They think that those are frivolous. They believe that this is an unwarranted attack on the person of the Chief Justice, and that's why they're asking the Ghana Bar Association to speak. But having said that, there is also the concern that the minority in Parliament may be going ahead of itself, in the sense that we know that there were petitions to remove 2 former Chief Justices of this country, and eventually there was no prima facie determined, and they were thrown out. Even for Chief Justice Tokonu, in the previous administration, there was a petition to have her removed, but the President didn't give it much attention. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what the President is going to say. Some have suggested that the actions of the minority may either prove that there is a case, or may either prove that indeed the government may be attacking the Chief Justice unnecessarily.
Yeah, and that I think I mentioned it some time ago on this same platform, that the provision in the Constitution where any petition that is brought before the President needs to be done or need to establish the prima facie case in consultation with the Council of Elders, I think it's an insulator to prevent frivolous petitions. I don't know why the minority in this regard will not wait to hear what will come out of the consultation with the Council of States, because I think that should be the first step in order, because I don't think this is the very first time that such a petition is being brought against the Chief Justice, Lady Chief Tokonu, and on several occasions I think that there was no prima facie case made against her, and for that matter they were brushed off. And so I believe that at this point again we need to exercise restraint patience, as I said earlier, so we see whether or not there could be any prima facie case made against her. But as it stands now, there is no case against this lady, because it's a party who is aggrieved with 1 or 2 things about her who has presented his or her petition. So we need to wait and see whether there could be any prima facie case against her. Aside that I don't think it is, for me, again, premature even going to say a whole lot of stuff, because as now it is just a petition being brought by anybody, and any one of us could have brought that if we are aggrieved by any action of the Chief Justice, then it is within our constitutional mandate.
I'm grateful for your time this evening. That's constitutional lawyer Raymond Pidema sharing his thoughts with us on the latest developments with regards to petitions to remove the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court hearing on some interlocutory injunction applications to hold that process. We've also been joined on the phone lines by Mr. Inusa Hussaini. He is a former MP and a leading member of the governing National Democratic Congress. I'm grateful for your time this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We've heard from the minority, and they're making some claims. I know your relationship with the President as at the time he was a candidate, and I suppose you may know if there's any merit to what these the accusations of the minority are. What do you know about this?
First of all, the minority appear to be jumping the gun, and it appears to me that they are litigation happy, because the clear reading of Article 146 of the Constitution, together with the Supreme Court's decision in Adjourns and the Attorney General, will leave no one in doubt that when an application or when a petition for the removal of a justice or a justice of the Superior Court of Judicature or the Chief Justice, as the case may be, is submitted to the President, there are certain procedural requirements that the President will have to follow. And those procedural requirements, if it is for the removal of a justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, must be forwarded to the Chief Justice for a determination whether a prima facie case has been made up against the Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature. If it is the Chief Justice, the procedure requires that the President, in consultation with the Council of State, must determine whether the petitions raise a prima facie case. Everything about the petition, whether it is for the removal of a Chief Justice or a Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, must be held in camera. I don't know why this panicky behavior. Why? Because you need to protect the dignity and sanctity of the office of the Chief Justice or the office of the Superior Court, Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature. You don't have those matters do not come into the public until there is, first of all, prima facie for the establishment of the committee, and then for the committee, if a prima facie is established, for the committee to sit in camera. Because even if a prima facie decision is made, that doesn't mean that the committee will return a verdict of, if you want, for a lack of better word, guilty.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But my question is there any merit in what the minority is claiming?
There's no merit at all. I mean, they are just making the matter excessively partisan. There's absolutely no merit. Because everything has to be done in camera. So why is it that when Nana Akufo-Addo received a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice and went through the motions, the majority then, now minority, did not go to the public to raise issues against Nana Akufo-Addo? Why didn't they do that? That's hypocrisy of the highest order. Hypocrisy, they're hypocrites.
Do you also get a sense?
What convinces them that the decision of Nana Akufo-Addo, Nana Akufo-Addo was going to arrive at a decision that was acceptable to them, and John Mahama is going to arrive at a decision that's not acceptable to them. What is a litmus test?
Well, they claim they've seen the petition and that the contents are frivolous, and that they also have intelligence that the president is planning to suspend and remove the CJ and replace her with an NDC sympathizer.
You see, no matter the level of intelligence, no matter the leaks that you will find, the minority cannot substitute themselves for the Council of State. They must know, as minority, they are members of Parliament, and the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, has designated their role within the governance framework of this country. So, in fact, they must be in their lane. As we speak, the only institution of state that is mandated to consult the Council of State to determine whether or not there is a prima facie case is the president, and not minority.
But are you suggesting that if they have concerns about a process, they cannot raise those concerns?
What are the concerns? Everything has to be in camera. The concerns that could be legitimately raised is if the president was acted ultra vires. So how would you suggest they should have channeled these concerns they've put in the public domain? First of all, what are the concerns? They're a figment of their own idiosyncratic understanding of what is going on. Our concerns? Is that what our concerns? The president has not arrogated to himself the power to determine whether or not a prima facie case has been made. In his letter, he told us that he's going to do that in consultation with the Council of State. The Chief Justice wrote and said by her practice, anytime a petition was referred to her to determine whether or not there's a prima facie case, she invited the respondent to answer to the petition. And so she wants to be treated just like she treated other respondents. The president acceded to her request, gave her 10 days to respond to the petition. She's responded. The matters are now within the Council of State and the president of the country. We have not heard from the president. We have not heard the advice of the Council of State. Have they read Article 146(10) of the Constitution? It is the Council of State that will advise the president before a Chief Justice can be suspended. Have they heard from the Council of State? So do you suggest should they have written to the Council of State, for example, if they have legitimate concerns? Right. They're just fussy. They're just back in a hurry and plunging this country into needless debates.
I'm grateful for your time this evening, Mr. Fuseni. We'll continue another time. Thank you so much for joining me on News Tonight. That's Inusa Fuseni, a leading member of the NDC and former MP for Tamale Central, reacting to the concerns by the minority on a certain intelligence they have received regarding the petitions to remove Chief Justice Tokonu. That'll be all for Insight. I'll be back with more Tuesday. Thank you so much for staying here on News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. Now, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, has set up a 9-member committee to review recommendations in the report by the Professor Michael Quay-led Election Review Committee. And the committee presented the findings to the National Executive Committee, citing reasons behind the party's abysmal performance in the 2024 general elections. Prominent figures in the party were in attendance today, including former President Akufo-Addo, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and other key party stalwarts. Assuring a review of all the findings, General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kudia, also cautioned the party's communicators to be measured in utterances within the media space.
And at the emergency meeting, the council set up a review committee to do a postmortem of the 2024 elections. And today, the committee, led by Reverend Professor Michael Quay, submitted their report to National Council. The National Council accepted the report, but there are several steps that we need to take as a party. As we receive the report today, we need to sit down and deliberate on the report. And key among the discussions that we had at National Council, and also based on the summary evening presentation that was done by Professor Michael Quay, there will be a need for some constitutional amendments. So based on that, the National Council has constituted a 9-member committee to look at Professor Michael Quay's report, particularly emphasis on where the issues of proposals for amendment has to be made to our constitution. We want to let the media and the good people of Ghana know that we have just received the report today. We are yet to go into the details of what is entailed in the report. In the coming days, whatever we have to bring out to discuss or to communicate to our supporters or our members, the rank and file of our party, we do so. But we want to caution members of our party not to be in the haste to say things which are not even in the report, and for people to make several assumptions, to even make accusations and counter accusations on social media and the media. There's
Away from that report put together by the Michael Quay-led committee to review the elections, let's head to Boko now. And violent clashes there have disrupted daily life, affecting education and healthcare delivery. Insecurity has halted activities in several schools and health facilities. There's also a lot of fear and tension in parts of the town, and this has made it unsafe for students to attend classes and for teachers to report to work. Some schools have remained closed for days, and others operate with minimal attendance under very tight security. Healthcare delivery has also taken a hit, with patients being turned away or transferred to facilities outside the conflict zone. We've been joined now by Public Relations Officer of the National Peace Council. We know that a lot of intervention efforts have been put in place by government agencies, security agencies, and Asante-Hen in terms of mediating the conflict. But we'd like to find out what the Peace Council itself has been doing over the period. Well, unfortunately, we were unable to raise the Public Relations Officer of the Peace Council at the moment. We had an agreed interview on the matter, but stay with us. We will Well, thankfully, we've been able to raise him on phone. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Kwesi Boateng. Thank you for joining us on News Tonight. What are you able to tell us with regards to interventions by the National Peace Council on the violent clashes that have recently occurred in Boko?
So thank you very much to you and your listeners. We are honored to have this opportunity. For the Peace Council, we've been monitoring the situation, and we are also concerned about the clashes. Of course, we've issued a statement to the effect that they should calm down. In fact, we urge or appeal to the factions to cease fire and, of course, return to dialogue and, of course, give reference to Otunfo's mediation effort, which is I think he's also started his work now. So certainly, we are just calling for calm. We're very concerned that this clashes is really affecting businesses and then affecting the livelihoods of people there.
Right. And have you sent a delegation there yet?
So we did. Our regional officers are on the ground. I think recently to leadership also have visited the place, and then we've been doing our engagement on the quiet.
Right. We'll leave it here for now. I'm grateful for your time this evening on this particular matter. You just heard Public Relations Officer of the National Peace Council, Kwesi Boateng, telling us about what the council is doing to also help restore peace and calm to the troubled area of Boko. Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has charged the Ghanaian youth to take full advantage of the One Coders program as a gateway to transform the future of Ghana's tech workforce and economy. Speaking at the unveiling of the program in Accra, the president described the initiative as a foundation for a new economy driven by innovation and digital solutions. He stressed the need to shift from being consumers of imported technology to becoming creators of homegrown digital solutions. Presidential Affairs correspondent Abdul Hanan Adam has more.
The 1 Million Coders program aims to train 1 million young Ghanaians in digital skills, equipping them to thrive in the rapidly expanding business process outsourcing and knowledge process outsourcing sectors. With 6 courses across 3 disciplines, the initiative aligns with the government's vision to position Ghana as Africa's leading hub for digital talent.
Over the next 4 years, the 1 Million Coders program will train 1 million Ghanaians in essential digital skills, from coding and cybersecurity to data analytics and networking. These are not just technical abilities, they are economic passports, pathways to decent jobs, entrepreneurship, and long-term social economic inclusion. We do not walk this path alone. Across the globe, nations that recognize the power of coding early have positioned themselves for extraordinary progress.
At the official launch in Accra, President John Dramani Mahama described the initiative as the cornerstone of a new economy powered by innovation and digital solutions. He urged the youth to seize the opportunity to transform Ghana's workforce and economy.
To the youth of Ghana, I say this program is for you. Take it and own it. Let this be your launchpad into innovation, entrepreneurship, and global relevance. Let this be the bridge between your dreams and the opportunities of the digital age. You're not just participants in this initiative, you are the architects of Ghana's digital future.
In his remarks, the Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations, Samuel Nate George, hailed the program as a bold step towards Ghana's digital transformation.
This initiative is a strategic investment in our youth, empowering them with in-demand digital skills that align with the jobs to be created under the 24-hour economy policy. Ghana faces a youth unemployment rate of over 12%, and yet the digital economy is projected to create millions of new jobs across Africa by 2030. By partnering with the private sector, we're not only expanding access to opportunity, but also ensuring relevance. Training 1 million coders is more than a number. It's a commitment to innovation, problem solving, and preparing our youth to drive Ghana's industrialization and economic diversification from the front lines.
He also disclosed that over 90,000 young Ghanaians have already applied, surpassing the minimum target for the program's first phase.
Mr. President, we planned to do the pilot with 260 students. But within the first 4 hours of announcing, we had over 4,000 applications. We decided to do a double track and do 520. As at this morning, about 30 minutes ago, the number of applications we have received is 91,847 applications. This speaks to the visionary nature of your plan and vision to transform our digital ecosystem.
To ensure widespread access, training centers will be established at community information centers in all metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies across the country. Reporting for GHOne News, Abdulhanan Adam, Accra.
You're watching News Tonight. Here with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. We've got business news updates shortly. Of Infrastructure and Capital Projects, Yawa Pialate, is advising government to reconsider its position on not renegotiating or extending Ghana's current deal with the IMF. His comments follow a joint press briefing in Accra, where Finance Minister Dr. Kasi Alatoforsen announced the government has no plans to revise or extend the IMF program. Mr. Latte holds a different view. Speaking on Morning Star with Na Dede Tete, he said a return to the negotiating table could benefit the country, especially at a time when international donor support is on the decline.
Development aid is shrinking. So if you have an opportunity to negotiate with a development partner that has got consistent revenue, whose incomes are not influenced by any government, whether United States, European Union, etc., I would have expected that you negotiate the IMF, not an extension of the program, but renegotiation of the funds to be disbursed to government. As you know, significant portion of the funds had been disbursed even before the government came into power. The other thing that came to mind recently was when the president also visited the United States, and government or the president expressed an intention to negotiate the MIDA, Millennium Challenge Compact. That has also been affected by the decision of the Trump administration. So IMF is quite stable. They are not controlled by any government. They are not controlled by any administration. So if you want reliable, stable donor funds to support your budget, the IMF or the World Bank is the place to go. And I think government should reconsider it.
Now, prices of petroleum products are expected to decline marginally at the pumps, according to projections by the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Petrol may see a drop of 1.5%, while diesel and LPG are expected to decrease by 0.3% each. The Chamber attributes the trend to a steady fall in global crude oil prices, with benchmarks dropping from around $72 to $64 per barrel. On the international product market, petrol rose by 2.3%, but diesel and LPG fell by 3.72% and 9.61%, respectively. The Chamber believes the slight reprieve will ease the burden on transport operators and the commuting public amidst ongoing economic pressures. Now, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, says government's decision to reject the application to renew the mining lease of Goldfields Damang mine was due to multiple shortcomings in the application. Speaking at a press briefing, he explained the company failed to declare any verifiable mineral reserves in its renewal request and had not allocated any budget for exploration at the Damang site over the past 2 years.
Damang man's return to state oversight marks a critical step in Ghana's economic reset. It is imperative to note that while the government remains steadfast in its commitments, this decision was neither taken arbitrarily nor without due process. Rather, it was predicated upon cogent, empirically substantiated grounds, which includes failure to declare mineral reserves. AGL failed to declare verifiable mineral reserves in its renewal application. There was an absence of a technical program. The application submitted by Goldfields lacked a detailed technical program outlining past activities over the 30 years or failure plans for the mine or future plans for the mine. Lack of budgetary allocation for exploration. Goldfields has failed to allocate any budget for exploration at Damang over the past 2 years.
Now, the minister has also assured workers that there will be no job losses with regards to the discontinuation of operations of Goldfields at the Damang mine.
In the national interest, under Article 257(6) of the 1992 Constitution, the state shall assume oversight and operational responsibility of the Damang mine effective 19th of April 2025. Fundamental to this decision is the government's commitment to maintaining uninterrupted operations, protecting jobs, and honoring existing valid contracts while ensuring compliance with legal and fiscal obligations and securing Ghana's rightful benefits from this critical resource. To the hard-working employees, contractors, and service providers at Damang, your dedication has been the backbone of this mine, and it will remain indispensable even within this period. All essential services, from security to healthcare, fuel supply to camp management, will continue without interruption. Valid contracts will be honored, wages will be paid, and operations sustained as we work to regularize arrangements under the state stewardship.
And that'll be all for business news. Up next is sports. GHOne Champong has the latest updates from the world of sports, especially on that ongoing game between Arsenal and Real Madrid.
Segment here on News Tonight. My name is GHOne Champong. Let's start with the presidential candidate for the Ghana Olympic Committee, Richard Akpokabi, who's declared that his motivation for seeking the top position is rooted in his desire to give back to society.
Because I want to give back. I mean, sports has been my life and contributed to most of the things I've achieved in life. And the only way you can give back is to be in administration, so that you give back to the athletes who are really, so the people who really motivate me every time are the athletes. I mean, when I was in hockey, I mean, it's a joy to see the young people training, doing all, sacrificing to get to the top, and see how you can help them.
Yeah.
And when there's victory at the end, you see the joy in their face. I mean, it makes you, it's better than anything you can think. So that's really what has kept me going. And that's what keeps me going. That we need to give back to the sport and make sports better. There's so many things we can do better.
Yeah.
Because we have challenges, of course, like everywhere else. But we can do some things better. And if we can do it better, and I think I have the capacity to do that, why not? I think I should do that.
Right.
All right, let's turn our attention away from that and do something on the outstanding match number 22 games in the Ghana Premier League. And Asante Kotoko stumbled in the title race, dropping crucial points after losing 3-0 to Accra Lions at the Accra Sports Stadium. Well, goals from Jacob Awate Gildas got the opener for the Lions after latching onto a ball after it ricocheted off the goal post. Minutes later, Yao Sopoli was left unmarked following an onslaught from the midfield and slotted the ball past Frederick Asari in post for Kotoko. David Akintunde completed the shocking rout at the Accra Sports Stadium with a beautiful goal in the 18-yard, and this result sends Kotoko to third place on the Premier League summit. All right, let's check out a few of the results in the outstanding games that were played earlier today at the various league centers. And Young Apostles were at home in Wenchi. They won by 2-1 over Brekum Chelsea. FC Samatex, who are league defenders, they also at home. They won 2-0 over Karela United. Bechem United were 2-0 losers at home to Gold Stars, who now top the Ghana Premier League with 50 points. And also Basake Holy Stars were 1-0 winners over Vision FC, whilst Adriana Stars did win 2-0 at home over Accra Hatubuk. Accra Lions won by a lone goal over Midiama, and Nations FC 1, Dreams FC 0, Accra Lions FC 3 over Asante Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium. So that was the game that was played. It ended 3-0 in favor of Accra Lions at the Accra Sports Stadium. That's how it ended. It was a mauling actually for Kotoko. But currently ongoing is the UEFA Champions League action, and it's currently 0-0 at the Bernabeu, and also 0-0 between Inter Milan in their game. Also at the Bernabeu, I'm sure she is really smiling, hoping that the team can overturn that deficit, that 3-0 deficit.
Well, I've told you that Real Madrid is equal to Champions League, and we are the masters of a comeback. So let's just see how it goes. But thank you so much, Joelle Champong, with details from the world of sports. And that's how we end this edition of News Tonight, and I'm grateful for your company here. There's more news, however, when you log on to starfm.com.gh. You can also follow us on Facebook. We are GHOne Television. I'm Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. Do stay with us here. We are GHOne, your best choice to stay.